There is a pot of peppermint sitting on my porch rail this morning, so thick and green that Emma can smell it from the kitchen door. 6 weeks ago, that same pot was on the pile next to my burn barrel. Every leaf in it was brown as a paper sack. The stems snapped like dry kindling. Emma had given up on it, and I had just about agreed with her. At least, that is what everybody on this farm thought was the end of it. But I did not buy new mint. I did not use one bottle, one spray, or one single thing off a garden center shelf. I gave that pot about 20 minutes of honest work. I spent nothing at all. And then I did the hardest part of the whole method, which was mostly leaving it alone. Today, I'm going to walk you through every step of it, right here at my shop bench, the same way my daddy, my grandfather, once walked me through it. And stay with me to the very end, because the last step is where a rescued plant lives or dies, and it hangs on one specific thing the sun makes a leaf do. Nobody ever taught you that part, because there was never a nickel in it for anybody. I'm Elias Miller. I'm 58 years old, I'm Old Order Amish, and I was born and raised right here in Holmes County, Ohio, the largest Amish settlement in the world. Emma and I have been married 36 years, and we raised 7 children and 19 grandchildren on this farm, mostly out of the garden I still keep, without ever once carrying debt. Our son Mose runs the dairy now, so the garden, the shop, and the bees fall to me. That is why I have the time to show you these things. So what turned a pot of brown sticks back into that mint? First, look at what the problem costs. Walk through any garden center in May and watch the carts roll out the door. Ferns, geraniums, hanging baskets. Then stand in that same parking lot in August and watch the same folks buying the same plants all over again. $9 for the fern, $15 for the basket, $20 and more for a rose. The same money every single year for the same plants because the first ones died. We don't buy it twice around here. Not because we are stubborn, because nearly every one of those plants could have been saved for the price of nothing. Now, when a plant starts to droop, nearly every one of us reaches for the same 3 kindnesses. More water, then plant food, then the sunniest window in the house. And hear this plainly, because it is the whole reason this video exists. Each one of them, given to a plant that is already struggling, pushes it into the grave faster. The same watering can that grew, that fern is usually the very thing that takes it down. Nobody at the garden center is lying to you, mind. The shelf just has to hold things a store can sell, and the fix I am about to show you was never for sale. Keep that sunny window in your head. It ties straight into the sun rule I promised you, and when we get there, it will explain nearly every plant you have ever lost. Now, everything I am about to show you at this bench comes out of a manual Emma and I put together because nobody ever got rich teaching folks to keep a $9 fern alive, so we wrote it down ourselves. It is called the Amish Country Manual. The heat, the water, the food, the cleaning, the mending, and the quiet money habits underneath it all, written out step by step with the materials and the dollar amounts. You do not have to become Amish. You just have to keep your money like one. Families use it to cut up to $7,000 a year off their bills. It is $17, marked down from $47, and unlike those bills, you only pay it once. Now go ahead and grab your phone and open up your camera, the same one you use to take pictures. Point it at that square code on your screen and hold it steady for a second. A little link will pop up, give it a tap, and it will take you straight to the book. And if you are watching on your phone right now, the link is waiting for you right down below in the description. Take your time. There is no rush at all. I'll wait right here. All right, back to the patient on my bench. The first thing my daddy ever taught me about a dying plant is that dead leaves do not mean a dead plant. A plant in trouble cuts its losses. It lets the leaves go first, then the small twigs, and it pulls whatever life it has left down into the thick stems, the crown, and the roots. We do the very same thing in a hard January. You close off the far bedrooms, you hang a quilt across the doorway, and the whole family lives close to the wood stove. From the road, the house looks dark and done for. Step into the kitchen, and there is plenty of life. So before you grieve over a brown plant, you go check the kitchen. Here is the scratch test. Take your thumbnail or a small pocket knife. Pick a stem about as thick as a pencil. Scratch away a strip of the outer skin about the size of a grain of rice. Just a grain of rice, no bigger. You are testing the plant, not skinning it. Now look at the color underneath. If it shows green and feels a little damp, that stem is alive. If it shows brown and feels dry, that stem has gone on. So move a few inches lower and scratch again. Keep working your way down toward the soil. If you find green anywhere, even right at the soil line, you have a plant this method will bring back. I have not yet lost one that still had green in it. This same test works on a rose bush, a tomato plant, a fig tree, or the lilac by your back door. Now, mint and ferns and most houseplants have no bark to scratch. For those, go straight to the crown, right where the stems come up out of the soil. Push the soil back gently with 2 fingers. A living crown is firm and pale. A dead one is brown mush that smears when you rub it. Then feel just under the soil for runners and thick roots. When I checked Emma's peppermint, every stem above ground snapped off dead. But 1 inch down, the runners were white as bone and firm as a fresh green bean. That whole pot was alive. It just was not showing it above ground. So that is the first step. Scratch for green or check the crown and find out what you are truly working with. The mint was alive, which left the bigger question. And the answer is the part that surprises folks the most. What had been killing it in the first place? 9 times out of 10, when a potted plant is going downhill, the trouble is water. And nearly every time, it is too much of it, not too little. That plant is not dying of thirst. It is drowning. Here is what happens under the soil. A root does 2 jobs at once. It drinks and it breathes. Good soil is full of little air pockets between the crumbs, and the roots pull air out of those pockets all day long, the same as you and I pull it out of the sky. Water the pot every day, and those pockets never empty of water. The roots sit in it with no air at all. First they suffocate, then they begin to rot, and the rot spreads from root to root like fire through dry straw. And now comes the cruel trick in it. A drowning plant wilts. The rotted roots cannot lift water anymore, so the leaves flop over exactly the way a thirsty plant flops. We see the wilt, we feel sorry, and we pour another cup of water onto a plant that is already underwater. I have watched the kindest people you could ever meet water a plant straight into its grave. 1 loving cup at a time. Think on that a minute, because it means the plants you lost were mostly loved to death. My English neighbor Mark, and English is just our word for our non-Amish friends, is the fellow who films these videos for me. I have fixed his mower 11 times now. Mark waters his porch fern every morning of his life, rain or shine, whether it needs it or not, and I will tell you that fern and that mower suffer from the same complaint. Too much fussing and no rest. So here are your 2 checks, and they cost nothing. First, the finger. Push your finger down into the soil to the second knuckle. The second knuckle, right where the finger bends the second time. If the soil down there is cool and dark and sticks to your skin, there is water aplenty and the can stays where it sits. If the plant is wilting on top of soil like that, you are looking at a drowning. Second, the nose. Tip the pot and take a smell right at the drain hole. Healthy soil smells sweet, like the woods after a rain. Rotting roots smell sour, like swamp water or a spoiled potato. Your nose will know the difference the moment it meets it. Once in a while, it truly is thirst. Then the soil is dry as flour, all the way down, and the pot lifts light as an empty coffee can. If that is your case, the fix is one deep, slow drink, and I will show you the right way to give it before we are through. But hold on to that picture of roots trying to keep up with what the leaves are spending. Hold it tight. The sun rule I promised you from the porch rail is built on exactly that picture, and we are getting close. First, if your nose found the swamp, do not wait a single day. Here is the rescue, start to finish. This next part looks drastic, and it is the kindest thing you will do for the plant all day. Spread an old feed sack or a few sheets of newspaper on a table. Tip the pot over onto its side. Ease the plant out by the base of the stems. If the stems are gone, work the whole root ball out with your fingers. Now crumble away all of that wet, sour soil until you can see the roots plain. The old soil goes to the compost pile. It never goes back in the pot. Now read the roots, because they will tell you everything. A healthy root is firm, and it runs white to cream, about the color of a bean sprout. A rotten root is brown or black, soft as wet string, and when you pull it between two fingers, the skin slips right off it. Get your shears, or a good sharp pair of scissors. Wipe the blades down with rubbing alcohol, or hold them in boiling water for a slow count of 10. 10, nice and slow. My daddy cleaned his knife before this job the way a doctor cleans his, and he was right to. Now cut away every soft, dark root, back to where the root turns firm and pale. Do not be timid about it. If half the roots end up on the feed sack, so be it. You are not hurting the plant. Every one of those brown roots was lost already, and every one you leave keeps passing rot to its neighbors. You are only taking out what is already gone. If you are working on a soft plant like Emma's mint, the same rule holds at the crown. Cut away anything mushy until everything left under your thumb is firm. When the cutting is finished, swish the roots gently in a bucket of clean water and let the last of the old soil go. Take your time with all of this. There is no rush, and the plant has nowhere else to be. So now the sour soil is off, the rot is cut away, and you are holding clean, firm root. And here comes the cut most folks cannot bring themselves to make. Skipping it is the reason most rescues fail, even after all that good work below. A plant's roots and its top are a team of horses, and they have to pull even. You just cut away half of the roots, so about half of the top has to go too. The little roots you saved cannot feed every leaf, and stem the old roots grew. And if you ask them to, they will kill themselves trying. So look at how much root came off, and trim the top back by about the same share. Make each cut just above a leaf joint, or above a little bud if you can find one. There is a reason for that. A plant can only push new growth from a joint or a bud. A cut made just above one heals over quick and sends the strength sideways into new shoots, while a long bare stub above a joint only dies back and lets the rot in. And any stem that scratched brown earlier gets cut all the way down to living green, no matter how far down that takes you. That haircut will look brutal there on the bench. It feels like a small, mean thing at the time. It is not. Give it 3 weeks, and you will see it for what it is, which is mercy. You are only doing for the plant what it was already trying to do for itself. You are closing off the far rooms so the stove can keep the kitchen warm. Emma's peppermint went down to bare runners and about 1 inch of stubble. 1 inch and no more than that. When I finished, it looked like a pot of plain dirt, and today It is the greenest thing on this farm. Clean roots and a top trimmed to match them. Now the patient needs a clean bed to lie in, and the old soil recipe is 3 ingredients you likely have on the place already. This is also where the sand comes in, and the sand is the part everybody skips. My Dottie's potting mix was 1 part good topsoil, 1 part compost, and 1 part coarse sand. 1, 1, and 1. Equal parts, stirred together with your hands in a wheelbarrow or a wash tub. The topsoil is the body of it, the compost is the slow food, and ours comes off the pile behind the barn. And the sand is the piece everybody skips because it looks like it does nothing. That sand is what props open all those little air pockets we talked about, so the new roots can breathe while they drink. Coarse builder's sand from the hardware store does fine, a few dollars for more than you will ever need. Never use the fine sand from a sandbox, because fine sand packs tight and does the opposite job. Here is how you know the mix is right. Wet a fistful and squeeze it. It should hold the shape of your hand, then crumble apart when you poke it with your thumb. If it packs like modeling clay, add sand. If it will not hold together at all, add compost. Now the pot. Use a pot with a drain hole and never one without. A pot with no hole is just a bucket, and buckets are for milking. Lay 1 flat piece of a broken clay pot loose over that hole. The shard keeps the soil home while the water runs free. And that shard is the only thing that goes in the bottom besides soil. No gravel, no layer of stones. The old-timers knew the hole does the draining, not the rocks. Pour a few inches of your mix into the bottom. Set the roots on a little mound of it. Spread them out gently, like fingers laid flat on a table. Fill in around them with more mix. Firm it down with your fingertips, and only your fingertips, never your fist. Leave about 1 inch of space below the rim. 1 inch, about a thumb's width, so the water has a place to sit while it soaks in. Now the first drink, and the only one for a while. If you keep a rain barrel, dip from it. If you do not, fill a bucket from the tap the evening before and let it stand overnight, so it comes to the plant soft and at room temperature, the way every garden drank for 1,000 years. Pour it slow, all the way around the pot until you see water run out of the drain hole. The moment it runs, you stop, and then the watering can goes away, and it does not come back until the finger test says so. Dry and warm down to the second knuckle. For most pots that is about a week, sometimes longer, and longer is fine. So there is the bed made. Fresh crumbly soil, 1 shard over the hole, roots spread wide, 1 slow drink, and the can put away. And right here, with all the work done right, is the exact spot where most rescues still die. Not from anything folks do to the plant, from where they set it down. That is the sun rule, and it is next. But first, you need to know what the coming weeks are supposed to look like, or you will lose your nerve and drown the poor thing all over again. For the first week or 2, the plant will mostly sit there and do nothing you can see. It may even drop a few more of its old leaves. Let it. Those old leaves were bought and paid for by roots that are gone now, and the plant is still closing rooms. Do not judge the patient by its old leaves. They were always going to fall. The only sign that counts is new growth, and new growth starts small. Keep your eye right on the crown, where the stems meet the soil. You are watching for little pale leaves, sometimes no bigger than a mouse's ear. The day you see them, the roots underneath have taken hold, and your plant has turned the corner. With Emma's peppermint, that took 12 days. 12 days of me staring at what, I promise you, looked like a pot of plain dirt on the porch rail. A plant wants to live. The good Lord built them stubborn. Your job is only to stop making the living harder. So think in weeks, not days. 2 weeks to 6 weeks is the honest range for most plants. And I will say it again, 2 to 6 weeks. A thing worth doing is worth doing slow. And I will be straight with you about the other side of it. Some plants are already gone before you ever reach the bench. If the scratch test showed brown all the way to the soil line, and the crown smeared to mush, and every last root slipped its skin, that plant has passed, and no method on this earth will call it back. Send it to the compost pile with your thanks, and keep the pot. In my experience, that is about 1 plant in 10. The other 9 are just waiting on somebody who knows what you now know. Which brings us to the promise I have been holding since the porch rail, where the patient rests while it heals, and why the sunniest window in your house is the deadliest spot in it for a plant like this one. When something on this farm is hurt, it does not go out to the noon pasture. A sick cow goes to a quiet stall. A rescued plant is no different. And here at last is the why. The one specific thing the sun makes a leaf do. Every leaf on every plant is covered in little breathing pores. Thousands of them, far too small for your eye. All day long, those pores let water out into the air, and that steady letting out is the very thing that pulls fresh water up from the roots, up the stem, and out to every leaf. It works the same way cider climbs a straw when you sip on it. The leaves sip, and the roots supply. Now sunshine is what throws those pores wide open. The brighter and warmer the light, the harder every leaf pulls, and the more water the roots below must find, minute after minute. A healthy plant with a full head of roots keeps up just fine. That is exactly why sunshine grows a strong plant so well. But look at what is sitting on your bench. Half of its roots are lying on a feed sack. Set that plant in the big south window to help it get strong, and the sun throws every pore open. The leaves start spending water hand over fist, and the few little roots below cannot raise a fraction of it. In 2 or 3 days, the whole plant collapses, and it looks for all the world like it died of the surgery. Folks call that transplant shock. I call it a bill the plant could not pay. So here is the rule my Dottie gave me, and it decides everything. Bright shade and no direct sun for 2 weeks at the least. Outdoors, that is the north side of a porch or under a tree with dappled light. Indoors, a bright room, set back a few feet from the window glass. And keep it out of strong wind while you're at it, because wind spends a leaf's water the same way sunshine does, only quieter. The plant still gets every bit of light it needs to build new roots. It just is not being asked to spend what it does not have. And while it rests, no fertilizer, none at all. Plant food is mostly salt, and salt pulls water out of a cut root the same way it pulls water out of a sliced cucumber on Emma's counter. Feeding a hurt plant burns it from below. 6 weeks before the first feeding, and then only at half strength. 6 weeks. Write it on the calendar if you need to. When the new growth is coming on strong, walk the plant back toward its sunshine a little at a time, an hour more every few days, until it is home. Emma's peppermint never saw noon sun for a solid month, and that, more than the cutting and more than the soil, is why it is sitting on the porch rail today instead of in the burn barrel. The sun is a wage, friends. A healthy plant earns it, and a hurt plant only owes it. Now, that sun rule has its own page in the manual Emma and I wrote, the Amish Country Manual. Families use it to take up to $7,000 a year off their bills, and it is $17 today, marked down from $47. Around here, we do not buy things twice, and you will only ever pay for this once. Now go ahead and grab your phone and open up your camera, the same one you use to take pictures. Point it at that square code on your screen, and hold it steady for a second. A little link will pop up, give it a tap, and it will take you straight to the book. And if you are watching on your phone right now, the link is waiting for you right down below in the description. Take your time. There is no rush at all. I'll wait right here. So keep it simple, friends. Scratch for green, check the water before you add more, cut away the rot, trim the top to match, plain soil with sand in it, one slow drink, and then bright shade, no food, and patience. Now tell me in the comments, did your mother or your grandparents have their own way of bringing a plant back? Those little family tricks are exactly the kind of knowledge that disappears when nobody writes them down, and I would surely like to hear yours. I read every single one. Next week I am going to show you what Emma keeps in a $5 jug under the kitchen sink that has replaced nearly every bottle in her cleaning cupboard, and why it cuts through window grime better than anything the store sells. The old ways still work, friends. Use them well, and God keep you till next time.